Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Ross here, and this video is going to cover some suggestions that I think should be implemented in the game. I have over 200 hours in the game, but that really doesn't mean anything because it just means I play the game a lot. But after 200 hours, I've noticed some things that can be annoying and I think are simple to fix and easy suggestions that are not overly complicated. And I think pretty much everyone can agree on these points. But nonetheless, let's get started on the list. My first suggestion is that on the battlefield, when you encircle or overrun enemy divisions, that a good portion of that supply that is associated with those divisions should go back to you as the winning army. Now, in theory, what you're doing right here is you are capturing units. You're not just massacring the entire force, you're capturing them. So you would actually gain control of weapons, ammunition, first aid pouches, trucks, and tanks. And so I really think it should be implemented in game because for smaller nations, it could give you a massive strategic boost to have an influx of 10,000, 20,000 weapons into your army so your armies can actually be manned, and is very historically accurate as both the Axis and the Allies commonly used enemy equipment. Suggestion number 2 is a simple one for me, but something that I find very tedious. When you deploy new squadrons, they're always deployed with the no retreat function turned on, and that's very annoying as when you assign units a new general, that general never is in aggressive stance, he's always in normal stance, and so should your squadrons be on normal operations. And this can be very tedious if you're deploying 50 new squadrons and you have to scroll down the line clicking on the button to change every single squadron to normal operations, as really being on the no retreat function can be very devastating for a new player that is unaware of it. Suggestion number 3 revolves around airborne operations, and more specifically the transport aircraft that are used in airborne operations. Currently in the game in 1936, your transport aircraft can go 999 kilometers. By the end of the game in 1950, your transport aircraft can still only do 999 kilometers. If we were to compare that to tactical bombers in 1945, tactical bombers can do around 3,000 kilometers without being upgraded. In 1950, they can do 5,000 kilometers, but still your transport aircraft are very handicapped, and that it does limit the ability to use airborne operations on a grander scale that would be more common in 1950 than it is in 1936. My suggestion is either make an entirely separate technology for transport aircraft or tie the range of transport aircraft to tactical bombers since they were historically a very similar design. Change number 4 is a really must-need change, and that's stopping the AI from joining the losing side of a war to just keep on extending the war regardless of what is actually happening in that war. Right here you can see that this war is about to end in a couple days, but here's an example of a country just joining out of the blue for no reason. A little fucked. Well, we're going into... What the hell? Did South Africa just declare war on me? Fucking Jesus Christ, man. Oh my god, that is such horseshit. That is such horseshit. Oh man, like seriously, the war is literally about to end in any moment. And it's just like, oh hey, no. As we can see with that example, South Africa joined in the closing days, if not a week away from the end of this multi-year war. The reasoning? Who knows? Now, no one would have joined the Nazi Germany in like April of 1945 as they're about to surrender. So why would a country that has nothing to do with the war, that's been out of the war for multiple years, join the losing side of a faction on the closing days? It has to be fixed because all it's doing is making war very tedious and annoying. For suggestion number 5, I'm well aware about the magnitude of people that have talked about this subject on the forums and on Reddit, but I have to talk about the peace conference system. Right here, I have a war score of 1,889, and I could have taken all the land for 1,881, but I cannot because Italy was in second place with a whole 54 points. And so they get to puppet a small part of Ireland, and this can make you very angry as a player, as why does a nation that has very little to do with the entire war effort get to have any territory at all? Now, the way that you can fix this is allow you to spend all of your war score, regardless who is in second place and what score they have. Just let you spend it all, and then that at least will make you understand that when they grab land, it's their turn. The other way that we can solve this is nations that have less than 10% of war participation do not get to expand their borders at all. They can't have any land, and that would just make a lot more sense because it doesn't matter how many times you pass in the peace conference system, you just don't get to have any land if you do not participate in a major war effort. Suggestion number 6 is going to have to be the AI pathing system, because currently in the system, if you have troops in Europe and you want to move them to South America or North America, they will go around all of Europe into the Middle East and then sail from North Africa. And this is an example going from South America to Asia. They're going to take the land route instead of using transports. It's just something minor, but also is kind of annoying because it can also lead for troops being killed or taking way too long for troops and get into a front that you need them at. So it's just something that just needs to be fixed, hopefully soon. Number 7 is a two-part issue that I don't understand why we're even going to discuss it, because it should be in the base game. But you should be able to release puppets that you control, and you should be able to kick nations out of your faction if you're the faction leader. If I invite you over to my house, but I don't want you anymore, I can kick you out. It's such a simple idea, I just don't understand why they didn't put it in. Number 8 is a sensitive topic because Paradox does not want to talk about atomic weapons killing off civilian population, even though they're okay with killing natives in EU4. But nonetheless, we're not going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about is that atomic weapons just really are not that powerful. For a late game tech, you cannot make a country surrender with just using atomic weapons. You can drop their national unity, but you still need to take away territory. And you can see right here, I'm chain nuking the entire islands of the United Kingdom, and it doesn't matter. Also, you can have 40 divisions sitting on one tile and drop 40 nukes onto that tile, and there will still be 40 divisions. So the nukes do not affect the armies and they do not affect the air forces, which it really should. Suggestion number 9 and the last one revolves around the air war. And the air war, I just think, needs to be reworked in its entirety. There's just too many issues. The first issue is you can't tell your aircraft to not fly during storms. You can tell them not to fly at night, but they'll still fly into a hurricane if you don't micromanage it and make sure that every single little territory that you have aircraft in every single day doesn't have a storm. That's a lot of micromanagement and just leads to you having very slow games. Also, there's so many losses that can happen in a sector. You can have 5,000, 6,000 aircraft lost in 1 month in one sector. And there was a lot of air losses in World War II, but it wasn't just in one little area. That was all over the world. The other issue, and I think it's really a big issue, is that there's a lot of information being handled in the air war that you would never know about. It's all in the game files and none of the information is being presented to you as the player on screen. And unless you're deep inside Reddit or in the forums, you would never know how complicated the air war really is. In conclusion, there's a couple things I would like to talk about. First, I know there's a lot of different suggestions out there on the internet, but I didn't talk about all of them. The ones I did talk about are the ones that I find personally the most important. Second, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know how hard it is to actually implement these changes, but hopefully it's rather easy. Lastly, overall, I'm very happy with this game, and even though I'm complaining about some aspects, if you look at the total picture, this is an awesome game, and I hope it brings me years of enjoyment to come. Now, if you liked the video, hit that thumbs up, leave comments below, let's have a discussion, because I love discussing stuff. As always though, I'm the Flying Ross, and I'll check you guys next time.